My name is Kinshuk Chauhan and I'm a verbal faculty at CollegeDekho. As a verbal faculty, I teach here Gmat, Gre, SAT, IELTS and TOEFL. Today I would like to welcome you to our session on critical reasoning. This is a demo class of how we do the classes, what is our strategy of teaching, and we're going to start off by going through the structure of the GMAT, what it is and how it goes about, and then we'll pick up a specific topic that is critical reasoning. We'll be practicing a few questions about it. So first of all, the exam structure has 4 parts: analytical writing assessment, integrated reasoning, quantitative reasoning, and verbal reasoning. In analytical writing assessment, you have to critically analyze a given scenario and you have to communicate your ideas in an effective manner. It is a time-bound test. You get 30 minutes here and you have to write roughly around 300 words. And you have to convey the task, convey the idea required there. So their grammar, your punctuation, your vocabulary, your style of writing a sentence, everything is tested there. Next is integrated reasoning. Now, integrated reasoning in this section has a few questions from the verbal part, few questions from the quants part, right? So in both the cases, you get some kind of data and some kind of evaluation you are supposed to make on that data, and you have to answer those questions. They use different kind of skills. They're different. There's going to be a passage, and then there is going to be some data about it. And you have to correlate and then answer the question. In quantitative reasoning, it measures your ability to solve the problems. It has a special type of question that is called a data sufficiency question, where there is a question type given to you, and that question does not have all the information that it requires. It may have it, it may not have it. So you have to, and there are 2 options. You can use either one of them or both of them or none of them. So you have to understand that do you need those 2 options to answer the original question or not. That is what our data sufficiency question is. The other type of question we see here is your problem solving. So basically it will be a word problem. It can be from geometry, algebra, trigonometry. It can be from anywhere. And you are supposed to find out the answer by solving in a conventional yet in a speedy manner. And then we come to the verbal reasoning part. So verbal reasoning basically tests you on your understanding of the English language, to read and understand quickly and to critically analyze it and come to a conclusion. So here there are 3 types of questions. In the verbal reasoning here, there are 3 types of question: reading comprehension, critical reasoning, and sentence correction. In the sentence correction, the sentences are based to test you on your knowledge of grammar and sentence structure. In critical reasoning, you have to critically evaluate a certain argument. And then you have to come to a logical conclusion as required by the question statement. So further, if you go down in critical reasoning, again, there are going to be different types of questions. And today we are going to cover one of such types. Then the reading comprehension is your conventional passage. So these passages are in a generic nature. It do not require you to be a subject matter expert on a specific area. So no specific reading per se you are required to do beforehand for these reading comprehension passages. But what you are supposed to do is that you should have ability to comprehend and summarize the passage. That is what is actually required there. If you are able to do that in an accurate way, so you can answer the most of the questions there. The entire test duration is 3.5 hours. So basically in analytical writing section, you have 30 minutes, 1 question. You'll get an analysis of an argument and you are scored in the range of 0 to 6. Integrated reasoning, 30 questions, 12 minutes, right? So what are the types of questions there? Graphics interpretation, table analysis, multi-source reasoning, and 2-part analysis. Again, point increment is 1 to 8. Here, it is good to note that. All right, now let us understand what is the exam structure of the GMAT in detail. So we have an analytical writing assessment test, right? 30 questions, 1 minute. The type of question is you're supposed to analyze the argument, right? The score increases in a range of 0 to 6. It goes from 0 to 6, and it increases in a 0.5 range. That means you can get a 5, you can get a 5.5, you can get a 6, right? Between 5 to 6 there can be 5.5 only. Why? Because it is a 0.5 point increment. Then in integrated reasoning there are 30 questions and 12 minutes. It is helpful to know that the 8 of the questions are from the quants part, whereas 4 questions are from the verbal part. So 8 maths question and 4 English based question there are. So you can have a strategy using this technique as well, because of course quants has more questions. So if you focus more here, you can get an easy score. The types of questionnaire, you might be looking at a graph, you might be looking at a table, or multi-source reasoning, or two-part analysis, right? And here the score range is 1 to 8, increases in 1 point only. If we talk about quantitative reasoning part, you have 62 minutes and you have 31 questions. And these are basically your data sufficiency and problem solving. We discussed this already. The lowest possible score you can get is 6 and highest possible score is 51. Though they say that the score range is 0 to 61, but they have a specific algorithm, and due to that algorithm, no one scores 0 to 60, no one scores less than 6, and no one scores more than 51, right? Same is valid for the verbal part also. Now in the verbal part, you have 65 minutes and 36 questions. Here you can see that if you compare time and number of questions, verbal part has more questions in about same amount of time, right? So here this verbal part becomes challenge for a few students. Again, we have discussed what type of question they have: reading comprehension, critical reasoning, and sentence correction. All right, let's move on. So basically what will happen is, when you start the test, you will be given option to choose in which order you want to do. Now this order is very important for your strategy. So basically you can start with analytical writing assessment, then integrated reasoning, then quantitative and verbal, or you can start from verbal, then quantitative, then integrated reasoning and analytical assessment at the end. Or you can start with the quantitative part, your maths part, then verbal, English, then integrated reasoning, and then analytical assessment. You have to choose either of these three. You cannot make your own choices. Now, for example, you can see you cannot start off with integrated reasoning. You don't have that option, right? So either you do it on the second go or the third go. That is the only option there, right? So you have to choose your strategy with keeping in mind what questions you are what specific type of question you are good at. If you're better at quantitative, then you can start with quantitative, or you think you need a fresh mind to do the verbal based question, then start off with the verbal based questions. I'm skipping this slide. All right, so now let's talk about the GMAT verbal part, right? So we have already discussed sentence correction. So we saw that how many questions there are. There are approximately there are 36 questions in the GMAT verbal part. Now, how are these divided? The majority of these questions go into the pocket of sentence correction. That is, you can say 13 to 15 questions you can get there. And then in critical reasoning, you can expect 10 to 11 questions, and reading comprehension, you can expect 10 to 11 questions. Again, sentence correction has more weightage because it has more number of questions. All the questions that you're going to see, they have equal, okay, I'm saying that again, edit this part. So all the questions that you are seeing on the test on GMAT, they have different difficulty level, depends on how you attempt the question. So for example, if your first question that you are attempting, let's say this question number 1, this is going to be a moderate difficulty level, right? So they have an algorithm. If you answer correctly, right, then your question number 2 will be of a higher difficulty level. There will be more difficulty here as compared to question number 1, right? If your answer is incorrect, then you are going to end up with an easy question, right? Now, of course, if I talk about the weightage, difficult question carries more weightage over the easy question. you will get more points for solving difficult questions correctly. Right. Of course, you have to write, you have to solve every question, you have to answer every question, not leave any question unanswered. All right, now let's look at what we are going to do today. It's called critical reasoning. So this is a critical reasoning question. This is a critical reasoning question. So you can see on the left top side here, this is what we call a basic argument, right? Now see, every argument has basically two things. One is its background, and the second thing is its conclusion. The second thing is conclusion. So basically these two things make an argument, right? So what is our strategy here? When we are reading the argument, we'll find out what is the conclusion, right? And remember that our conclusion has to be the question specific. So what is question going for? From there you'll understand that what kind of conclusion we are looking for, right? So let us start off by the question. So now the question is the argument above relies on which of the following assumptions? So that means what? One of these 5 answer choices is a likely assumption. What does that mean? The argument given to us will be true based on one of these assumptions. So whichever answer choice here makes our argument valid, makes our this small passage given to us valid, will be the right answer. So let us understand that how to find out the assumption. So here it says there is a person, Ramirez. What does it say? What does this person say? It says the film industry claims that pirated DVDs, which are usually cheaper than legitimate DVDs and become available when before film's official DVD release date, adversely affect its bottom line. So what is happening here? They're saying because of the piracy, legitimate DVDs before they can become available, the piracy takes over, right? And it is affecting adversely. Then it says, but industry should note what the spread of piracy indicates. So according to the author, piracy is indicating something. What is that? Consumers want low prices and faster DVD releases. Right. So author says ki, okay, the industry is saying that due to piracy, they are being adversely affected. But the author says now that industry should note that these are indications that people want lower prices and they want earlier DVD releases. Right. Further, he says lowering prices of DVDs and releasing them sooner would mitigate piracy's negative effect on the film industry profits. Right. So this is his final point. If you want to understand what is the author's conclusion here, author's conclusion is there that lowering the prices of DVDs and releasing them sooner would mitigate piracy's negative effect, right? And what is the background he has given us here? The background is that piracy is adversely affecting and shows that people demand for lower prices and quicker releases of their of the respective DVDs, right? So we have to understand what makes this connection valid. That is going to be assumption. So let us look at the first question, first answer choice. Answer choice A says releasing legitimate DVDs earlier would not cause any reduction in the revenue the film industry receives from the film's theatrical release. Now, some of you might think that this could actually help the argument, but the answer is you're not supposed to help the argument. You're not supposed to find out if something is plausible, if something is possible. But you're supposed to find out what connects this consumer wanting lower prices and quicker DVD releases. How is author connecting that part to his final conclusion? That if you do that, then piracy would be mitigated. So basically, we have to establish that piracy is because of consumers' demand of lower prices and faster DVD releases, right? On the other hand, if we talk about answer choice A, right, it says that it is not going to cost them anything. It will not cause any reduction in the revenue, right? We are not here looking for any reduction in the revenue. That is not the connection that we are going for here, right? So of course they say that it will mitigate, but the assumption behind connecting your final conclusion is missing. Now next answer choice B. Some people who would otherwise purchase pirated DVDs would be willing to purchase legitimate DVDs if they were less expensive and released earlier than they are now. Now see, this is exactly what author was going for, that if you do that, then piracy will be mitigated. There will be mitigate the negative effect of the piracy. So if people are willing to buy, then definitely there will be less piracy. So this could be a possible answer. Let's hold on to this one. Let us not eliminate it right now. Next, the film industry will in future be able to produce DVDs more cheaply than is currently the case. So see here, the main idea of this sentence is that they will be able to produce more cheaply in future, right? That has nothing to do with the current argument author is making. So Charlie, answer choice C, cannot be your right answer. Then next, Delta. Some current sellers of pirated DVDs would likely discontinue their business if legitimate DVDs were released faster and priced lower. Right. So see, this is telling us that the pirates, the pirates of these DVDs, they are going to discontinue their business if this happens. The author is not saying that they are going to discontinue their business. He's saying that people will avoid piracy because now it's available for a lower price and they are getting it earlier than it was possible before. So again, this is not going to be the right answer. Last one. Current purchasers of pirated DVDs are aware that those DVDs are not authorized by film industries. So see, this answer choice is neither here nor there. Okay, so even if it is valid, it has nothing to do with the author's argument, right? So again, E again will not be valid. They're talking about if they are all aware, right? So that doesn't matter because people are still doing piracy, is still causing them negative effects. So it has no point, no water to hold here. So what will be the answer? The right answer will be option B. All right, let's try another question. So again, the question is on the same basis, right? We're supposed to find out the assumption the editorial's argument requires, right? So what is the assumption behind the argument? That is the question. Pause the video right now. Try to get through the question yourself. Then when I discuss, you can see if you got the right answer or not. Go ahead, pause the video. All right. I hope that you had paused the video and you have answered, you have making a choice for your final answer. Let us discuss now. So basically, again, as I told you, there's going to be some kind of conclusion here. So here, when we read the argument, it says our city's public transportation agency is facing a budget shortfall. The fastest growing part of the budget has been employee retirement benefits. So right, so what are they telling? That retirement benefits are increasing, right? Retirement benefits they have been growing a lot. So they are on the rise, right? That is what we know. Then it says, unless the budget shortfall is resolved, transportation service will be cut and many transportation employees will lose their jobs, right? So due to retirement benefits increasing, what is happening? They have a decrease in amount of their budget, and due to decrease in amount of their budget, what is happening further? That there will be job cuts, right? And so what does the author finally say? Author says that thus it would be in employees' best interest for their union to accept cuts in retirement benefits. So see, finally, what is all this leading to? This is all the background. So what is this all leading to? The author suggests that you should accept the cut. For what? For the general interest, for the best interest of the union, right? So he says accepting will be in the best interest. So now let us go through the answer choices and try to understand which answer choice is going to take us through this argument. So answer choice A says transportation employees union should not accept cuts in retirement benefits if doing so would not be in the employee's best interest. So here on the first go, you might think that this could be possibly somehow connecting to some of it, right? So what it says is very agreeable, but you are not looking for to accept on the basis of what will not be in the employee's best interest, but we are looking in the direction of what will be in the employee's best interest. So again, though you could agree with this, but this cannot be assumption behind this argument. Then next B, answer choice B says only feasible way for the agency to resolve the budget shortfall would involve cutting transportation service and eliminating jobs. So now in this answer choice, what are they saying? That there is a solution, right? And what is that one solution? That you have to resolve it and cut the transportation service and eliminate the job. Only then you can resolve the shortfall. So it's not saying that you have to cut down on the retirement benefits. So see, it is talking altogether in a different direction from what the author is saying, right? That they should accept the cuts in the retirement benefits. So again, this is not our assumption. Then next, answer choice C, it says other things being equal, it is in the transportation employees' interest to have exceptionally generous retirement benefits, right? So he says he says that if other things are all equal, he's talking about the best interest. What was not there in answer choice B. Best interest was A. In answer choice A, they did not go for the best interest. They went for what is not in their best interest, right? But it says they should have exceptionally generous retirement benefits, right? So this part is not required. This part is not telling us, because see, what they should have or they could have is different from what author is suggesting to them. So author, his conclusion is that the best interest would be to accept the cut in the retirement benefits. So again, answer choice C will not be the right answer. Then let's look at answer choice D. Cutting the retirement benefits would help resolve agency's budget shortfall, right? So this is what the idea was initially, and author also supported it. So this would be our answer. Let's look at answer choice E as well. It says the Transportation Employees Union will not accept cuts in retirement benefits. If doing so, will not allow more transportation employees to keep their jobs. So see, he's talking about that not accepting cuts if it does not help the employees to keep their job, right? So they are not talking about the other condition here. See, again, this is as good as answer choice A, because answer choice A was saying that you should not accept it if it is not in the best interest, right? This is also saying the same thing. They should not accept it if it is not in the best interest. How is it saying that? That not accept the retirement cut in the retirement benefits if you are not able to keep the jobs. The employees are not, transportation employees are not able to keep their jobs. That is as good as saying that they should not accept the cuts if it is not in the employee's best interest. So again, E is not the assumption behind this argument. So right answer choice is answer choice D. You have to learn to write in a concise manner where you can understand what you are going for, because you will not have time to write down detailed statements. You will have to use some kind of a technique. You have to use some kind of abbreviations or directions like I have used, right? And some kind of marks that will help you to establish what was the idea there, right? So that is somewhere you can, stay focused by that. Otherwise, you may find yourself reading through the same stuff again and again. All right. So again, I would ask you to pause the video and try to solve this question. Then we'll discuss. You'll be able to find out how were you able to understand in the right direction or not. Okay, go ahead, pause the video. All right. So I hope that you guys have read the question and you have gone through all the answer choices and you have some kind of a solid answer, right? If you are thinking that you still have doubt between two answer choices, see, the test is also about being decisive. So how will you become decisive? You have to learn to eliminate, right? Find some basis to eliminate an answer choice, because if you are not decisive at the end and you are ending up getting confused between two answer choice, then it will not help you, right? So there are certain elimination techniques. There are certain techniques that are commonly used in the Gmat test to frame you for a wrong answer choice. So in the classes we discuss all the details of these types, and we help you to identify these types of trap answers. All right. So let us understand what the argument was going for. So the argument says, farmer says, worldwide just three grain crops. There are just three grain crops. What are those? Wheat, rice, and corn. They account for most human caloric intake. Okay. Then it says to maintain this level of caloric intake and also keep pace with the global population growth, yields per acre from each of these crops will have to increase at least 1.5% every year, given that supply of cultivated land is diminishing. So what is the challenge? What is the first thing they tell us? They tell us that the land is diminishing, it is decreasing, and we need to do what? We need to increase the yield. We need to increase the yield, right? So finally, on this basis, what does the author say? Author says that government should increase the funding for research into new ways to improve the yields, right? So on these basis, what they want to increase the funding of the research. So the idea is pretty simple and direct. The land, the cultivable land is decreasing, and the yield has to increase because there's a global population to feed, and to increase the yield, the government should increase the funding. For this sole reason, the government should increase the funding for the research in new ways to improve the yield. Now, let us look at the answer choices and find out which of these answer choices could help see through this argument. So if you look at answer choice A, it says it is solely the government's responsibility to ensure that amount of rice, wheat, and corn produced worldwide keeps pace with the global population growth. So in this, it says it is solely the government's responsibility. Now see, in the end, author is asking that government should do the funding, but is it government's responsibility? Is that what it is going for? The answer to that is no. That is not what it is going for. You may think that it may mean the same thing, but it is not the same thing. It is indirect. So anything that is indirect is less likely to be your answer. So answer choice A is out of the picture. Now, now let us look at answer choice B. B says increasing government funding for research into new ways to improve the yields per acre of rice, wheat, and corn crops would help to increase total worldwide annual production of food from these crops. Now it says increasing the funding will do what? Increasing the funding will help to increase. That is the idea behind it, right? Isn't that why the author is saying that government should increase the research so that they could improve the yields, right? So you should not eliminate this answer choice, you should hold on to it. Next, answer choice C. It says increasing the yields per acre of rice, wheat, and corn is more important than increasing the yields per acre of other crops, right? So, the author is not at all concerned about the yields of other crops, right? He's talking about that we have to find new ways to improve the yields, right? So he's not making any comparison here. So no, answer choice C will not be the right answer. Answer choice D says current levels of funding for research into ways of improving grain crop yields per acre have enabled grain crop yields per acre to increase by more than 1.5% per year worldwide. So he's saying what is happening because of the current levels of funding, because of the current level of funding into the research for the new ways, the yield has increased, right? They have enabled grain crop yields to increase by more than 1.5%. See, this is the end of the research. Like you funded the research, you gave money to the research, and then research came out to be fruitful, right? So here in this argument, author is not saying that the research will come out fruitful. The author is limited to the fact that they just should increase the funding, right? So again, this is not going to be the right assumption. Last one. It says in coming decades, rice, wheat, and corn will become a minor part of human caloric intake unless there is government-funded research to increase their yields per acre. So they are saying that they will be diminished, they will not be consumed now that much if government is not funding, right? Unless there is a government funded research. So without the government funded research, they will become the minor part of humans' caloric intake. The author is not about predicting the future, what is going to happen in the future. The author is making a prediction for the future. All right, that the government should increase the funding because we need to find new ways to improve the yield. That is what he's projecting. He's not telling us that what will happen, years down the lane in the coming decades, right? So no, answer choice E will not be the right answer. Answer choice B is the right answer. All right, let's look at another question. Again, I would request you to pause the video, try to solve this one on your own, and then when I discuss, you can assess that were you moving in the right direction or not. Go ahead, pause the video and solve the question. All right, I hope that you paused the video and you have solved the question. Now let us find out the assumption behind this argument. So the argument says, although the school would receive financial benefits if soft drink vending machines in the if they had soft drink vending machines in the cafeteria, but the author says that they should not allow them. The vending machines, the soft drink vending machines, should not be allowed. For what reason? Allowing the soft drink machines there would not be in our students' interest. If our students start drinking more soft drinks, they will be less healthy, right? So see, the final answer for that is no. Why is that no? For a simple reason that more soft drink, for soft drink I'm going to use a symbol of SD. More soft drink means less health. That is the idea that they are going for, right? Now, what is our task? Our task is to read the answer choices and find out which of the answer choices is going to make our argument work. Now, if I look at answer choice A, it says if soft drink vending machines were placed in the cafeteria, students would consume more soft drinks as a result, right? So the author said that more soft drink is going to lead to less health. That was his backing that was his support for saying that the machine should not be allowed, right? And this gives us another thing, that if they are placed, students are going to do what? They're going to consume more soft drink because of this. So more soft drink will lead to less health. That point comes through, right? Hold on to this answer choice. Never select any answer choice at the first go, right? Hold on to this answer choice. Go through all the remaining answer choices. And then if you don't find anything worthy, you can go for the answer choice A. If you find something worthy, you can compare and eliminate. Now let us look at answer choice B. It says the amount of soft drinks that most students at the school currently drink is not detrimental to their health. So we are not talking about currently drinking. The author says that if we install these vending machines, students will drink more. And if they drink more, then it will be less healthy. They are not concerned about what is the current status of consuming soft drinks. Is it detrimental or not? They are not concerned with that. So no, answer choice B will not be the right answer. Then answer choice C says students are apt to be healthier if they do not drink soft drinks at all than if they drink small amounts occasionally. So see, they're not the argument's final thing is that you have more soft drink, you get less healthy, and thus for this the final argument was that these vending machines should not be allowed, right? They're not telling us that if you do not take them and you take them in small doses, what is going to be healthier, what is not going to be healthier. So again, this answer choice here will be eliminated. Then next one says Students will not simply bring soft drinks from home if soft drink vending machines are not placed in the cafeteria, right? So see, students not carrying if there are vending machines, that is not what author is going for. The author's idea was not that students should not have to carry extra weight, the weight of soft drinks with them to school. The author's idea was that if they have more access to soft drink, if they drink more soft drink, then they will be less healthy. So again, this will be eliminated. Then last one, the school's primary concern should be to promote good health among its citizens. Okay, their primary concern should be, this part is completely right. Yes, promoting good health among its students should definitely be there. But is that what the author is going for? That is not what is backing author's argument. Author already has good interest of students, and author already is trying to promote the good health. But author is not commenting on what should be the primary concern, right? So again, answer choice E will be eliminated. So which will be the right answer? Answer choice A becomes the right answer. I hope you had fun solving these questions with me. For further details, please contact our counselors. They will help you in whatever you are looking for. Thank you. Hi, my name is Kinshuk Chauhan, and I'm a verbal trainer from CollegeDekho. So I prepare students there for different type of competitive exams if they want to go abroad. I teach SAT, I teach Gmat, I teach GRE. I also teach IELTS and TOEFL. So today we are going to do a demo video for the GRE's verbal section, and the topic we are going to specifically choose is the reading comprehension. We are going to look at a few questions from the reading comprehension section of the verbal part of GRE. But before we do that, let us understand a few things about the GRE test. Alright, so why is GRE used? GRE is used for admissions into a variety of universities, programs, and it includes even business schools. So GRE is not specific to only master's program, but if you want to go into the business schools, you can go through a score of GRE as well. Right, there are going to be three main portions here, basically three major things. If you want to divide what GRE tests you on, you can divide it into three major parts: analytical writing, quantitative reasoning, and verbal reasoning. And analytical writing part consists of two essays. There you have to present your views, and one part, in the other part you have to analyze the situation and present an analysis. Then quantitative reasoning, and there are going to be your verbal reasoning part, that is also going to be there, and they are divided into sections of 20 questions each, right? So you have to answer there 80 multiple choice questions from verbal part and the quants part, from the English part and the maths part, right? There are additional 20 questions which are experimental of nature, so you will not know that which section was experimental. Let us get a more understanding of the scoring part now. So if we talk about the analytical writing score, the score goes on from 0 to 6, and it is a half point increment. In the verbal part, the score starts from 130, it goes till 170, and it is same for the quants part, that is, it starts from 130 and it goes to 170. The scores are reported individually. There's no one final score. So your analytical writing section score will be different. Will be represented as a separate entity, your verbal reasoning score as a separate entity, and your quantitative reasoning score as a separate entity. Also, you need to understand here that this is a section level adaptiveness in the GRE test. So what does section level adaptiveness means? It means that after you attempt a section, let's say you attempt the first verbal section, right? So this is your, let's say, first verbal section, and let's say the difficulty was medium here, right? But now if you have answered most of the questions correctly, if you have performed well, if you have performed well, then you will get a higher difficulty question. So your second question, on that basis, the difficulty will be high here. But if you have not performed well, then your second question, the difficulty will be low. Low difficulty means, again, your marks will be low here. The points you are awarded for each right question will be low. But if the difficulty is high, so whatever questions are correct, so you are getting more marks there, you're getting more points there. All right. Okay, let's move on now. So let's talk about the verbal part of the GRE. So verbal part, there are three types of questions. You can categorize them in reading comprehension, text completion, and sentence equivalence. Reading comprehension also you can divide into one category, which is a minor category. It is a short passage question. Basically, there you will be presented with an argument and you have to analyze that argument in a certain manner. Apart from that, there are long passages as well, typical to the comprehension style. Then there are text completion questions. Now these questions, you can have a very short passage like one sentence or two sentence, and you can have like one blank or two blank or three blank. So there are different types of question in these, and some questions will be single blank questions, some questions will be two blank question, and some questions will have three blanks. So you'll have to make your choices appropriately. The other category is sentence equivalence question. Here you will always have one blank only, but your answer choices will be more. You will get 6 answer choices, and out of those 6, 2 will be correct. So they will again be testing you on the same scale, but in a different manner altogether. All right, let's go to our section, reading comprehension, for the demo class now. Okay, so this question, as you can see, it is asking us which of the following, if true, most strengthens the argument. So this is a short RC question, you can say. Here, you are given a specific task. You are supposed to analyze this argument, and you have to find out what is going to, which of the answer choices from A, B, C, D, and E is going to strengthen it, right? So the first part is you're supposed to understand what is an argument. An argument is your opinion backed by certain facts. So here also you'll have to find out what is the opinion of the author, or how is the author backing it, and then you have to choose an answer choice that even further increases the author's opinion, further strengthens the author's opinion, makes it more decisive, makes it more efficient. Okay, so now let us go through the argument. So it says, the sales can be increased by the presence of sunlight within a store has been shown by experience of only say fast departmental store with a large skylight. So now they're telling us that there is a departmental store which tells us that the sales can be increased with the presence of sunlight in the store. Now, and this particular store, what is that? It is say fast department store. Then the author keeps on. Please edit this part. Then the author says the skylight allows sunlight into half of the store, reducing the need for artificial light. So they are telling us what is the scenario inside that say fast department store. Next, it says the rest of the store uses only artificial light. So where they are not getting the natural light, they are using the artificial light. Finally, the author says Since the store opened 2 years ago, departments on the sunlit side have had substantially higher sales than the other department. So what are they telling us? That this study is backed by the fact that their growth of their sales happened on the sunlit side and not on the other departments. So basically, what is the point here? So finally, what they are trying to say? They are trying to say that sales have increased. Right. Their final end is that they have increased the sales. How have they increased the sales? By making it, by letting the sunlight enter. So sunlight enters, and what happens? Sales increases. So now now that we understand this concept, we are not supposed to even further strengthen it. We have to show that this is going to work, that sunlight enters, then sales increases. If you have natural sunlight, then your sales are going to be on the higher side. All right. So what we are going to do, we're going through the answer choices. We'll evaluate if they can prove this, if they can help this or not. Right. Remember that you have to consider them to be true. There is a condition involved here, if true. So do not find anything negative about an answer choice, that this could not be possible. Rather, try to assume that if it is possible, what is the result? How does it affect the argument? So now the question says, now the answer choice says, on particularly cloudy days, more artificial light is used to illuminate the part of store under the skylight. So now if you pay attention, this answer choice is considered with what happens on a cloudy day, right? So we don't know if on the cloudy day the sales is increasing or decreasing by the increase of artificial light or not. So this answer choice has no implication on what the author's argument is. So we are going to eliminate answer choice A. Now answer choice B says, when the store is open at night, departments in the part of the store under skylight have sales that are no higher than those of the other departments. So now they are talking about when it is at night. So nighttime means there will be no sunlight. And what is happening when this is happening and under these conditions when there is no sunlight? They are telling us that sales are no different. They are no higher, right? So sales are not being affected in the night. That means what? It points out towards that sunlight has to do with something. So of course, we'll have to hold on to this answer choice. Now see, argument already tells us that sunlight is there when the sales are higher. So we cannot say that we don't know about the day part here. In the night time, they are showing a contradiction here. So we have to consider this. Hold on to this answer choice. Let's move further. Answer choice C says, many customers purchase items from departments in both parts of the store on a single shopping trip. So now what is happening here? This answer choice is, what is it telling us? That customers purchase the items from department stores in both parts of the store of single. I'm sorry, I'm going to repeat with the answer choice C. Editor, please edit that. All right. So answer choice C now says, many customers purchase items from departments in both parts of the store on a single shopping trip. So this answer choice is actually telling us what most customers do on a single shopping trip, right? So they purchase from both parts of the store. We are not concerned with that. Right? That does not affect our argument anyhow. And this case is specific to a single shopping trip. We are not looking for that. It has nothing to do with the sunlight part. So no, that is not going to happen. Right. Next, answer choice D. Besides the skylight, there are several significant architectural differences between the two parts of the store. Right. So see, now this is telling us there are other differences as well. Right. So besides the skylight, there are other differences in the architectural way. So now this answer choice is again not helping us anything how sunlight is connected with the sales part. So it doesn't connect, it will be eliminated. Last, answer choice E. The departments in the part of store under skylight are the departments that generally have highest sales in other stores in safe fast chain. So see, the concern here is now of the other stores. What exactly? Departments in the part under the skylight are departments that generally have highest sales in the other stores. And I'm going to repeat this answer choice. All right. Answer choice E. Now, answer choice E says departments in the part of the store under the skylight are departments that generally have highest sales in the. Okay, I'm going to repeat once more. All right. Now, let's consider answer choice E. The departments in the part of the store under the skylight are the departments that generally have highest sales in other stores in the safe pass chain. So, they are telling us what? That in the part of store under the skylight. They're specifically talking about the departments in the store under the skylight. They are the same departments here. They are the same departments where they are generally having higher sales in the other store. This means what? Only for this store, the skylight is a special condition. Otherwise, they have highest sale in the other stores as well. So this tells us that skylight is not a factor, that the sunlight on the inside the department is not a factor here. This does not strengthen our argument, but what it does, it weakens our argument. It does exactly opposite of what we are supposed to do. So we are going to eliminate this answer choice. So what will be the right answer? Answer choice B will be the right answer. All right, let's move on to the next passage. All right, so this is what you can consider a longer passage. This is a medium-sized reading comprehension question. You can say that there can be passages which are longer than this one, right? So now let us work with the question. The question asks us, the passage is primarily concerned with discussing. So they want us to know, what does this mean? This means what is their concern with the discussing? What is the main idea of what the author is saying? Now, the main idea will always be something that is generic to the entire passage. It will not be from a specific part. So now what you need to do is you need to move through the passage. You have to understand what is happening. You have to mark out something on your scratch paper in order to pay attention, to stay focused. Now what does it say? Let's go through the passage. Passage says, while the best 16th century Renaissance scholars mastered the classics of ancient Roman literature in original Latin and understood them in their original historical context, most of the scholars educated contemporaries knew the classics only from the school lessons on selected Latin texts. Now see, what is happening here? They're talking about two different categories. What are those? Best scholars and the contemporaries, right? So these are the two categories that you have. So how to take notes now? So you write scholars, right? And the other thing is contemporaries, right? You can write down that in short. Now, what did scholars have? They mastered the classics in the original Latin, right? So they have mastered the classics in the original Latin. That means what? They have gone through the original stuff. They have done the original part, right? What have the contemporaries done? Only from the selected Latin texts, right? So they read the original? No, they have read only the selected parts. So that is where the author makes the beginning. Now let us continue with the next sentence. Next sentence says, these were chosen by the Renaissance teachers after much deliberation. So what were chosen by the Renaissance teachers? The selected lectures, right? So then it says, why was it done? For works written by and for sophisticated adults of pagan Rome were not always considered suitable for Renaissance young. The central Roman classics refused to teach appropriate morality and frequently suggested the opposite. So what is happening here? Renaissance teachers had to deliberately choose these texts. Why? Because the central Roman classics, they refused those texts to be suitable for the Renaissance young. So what happened here? They opposed, right? So Renaissance teachers were opposed. So how do we represent that? Renaissance teachers. What did they do? They selected the text. Why? Because the classics opposed. Now let us see how this is developed further in the passage. Then the author says, teachers accordingly made students' needs, not textual and historical accuracy, their supreme interest. So what did they do? They made their needs, but they were not concerned with the textual and the historical accuracy. So what were they doing? they were their supreme interest. After that, they were chopping dangerous texts into short phrases and using these to impart lessons extemporaneously on variety of subjects. So they were chopping the dangerous text into short phrases. They were making it very concise, and then they were teaching it. And what did they teach? They taught from syntax to science. So basically, what did they do? How did teachers move further? They crunched it, right? So they made it short. So it chopped down. So you write chopped, right? Texts were chopped. That is your point here from this sentence. So see, basically the idea is you pick some point from the sentence, whichever seems likely to you, right? The idea behind is just to stay connected so that later on you can connect the dots. These are basically dots. All right. So let's continue. The final sentence, the author says, thus, I believe that a modern reader cannot know the associations that a line of ancient Roman poetry or prose had for any particular educated 16th century reader. So basically what is it? Finally the author is saying that there is a difference between the moderns and the 16th century readers, right? So finally he says, on this basis, because the text was chopped down and everything else, moderns cannot be associated with the ancient readers, the 16th century readers, right? So you can represent it like that. So now see what is happening. Now you're supposed to find out the main idea of the passage. The idea of the passage comes from all of these things. You have to look at an overall picture. So initially it tells us that scholars read the original text, but the contemporaries read the selected text. Why? Because Renaissance teachers, what they wanted to teach, it was opposed by the classics, by the Renaissance classics. Those people specifically opposed to that. And then what did they do? Renaissance teachers, they chopped down the text in a very small content. They chopped it down and bring it to a very small content to tell the students, to give the student what they need, right? And then finally it says, because of all this, the author believes that moderns cannot associate with a line or a prose of any particular text as an educated 16th century reader could. So now we will find the answer choice that covers all these aspects, or at least covers majority of them. Now answer choice A says unsuitability of Roman classics for teaching of morality. Now see, in this sentence here, they do say that they opposed teaching morality, right? To teach morality, and frequently suggested the opposite. So they opposed that, right? But is it telling us that they were unsuitable of Roman class, and the Roman classes were unsuitable for teaching morality? That has never been the focus of this paragraph, though this could be true, but it is not the focus of this paragraph. So what are we going to do? We are going to eliminate answer choice A. Now, answer choice B. B says approach that 16th century scholars took to learning the Roman classics. So now this one tells us the approach of the 16th century scholars. So 16th century scholars, what did they do? That was introduced to us, right? They built up to us because they were opposed. They had to create that. So their approach can be there. This could be the concern of the passage. So we hold on to this one. Next, answer choice C. Effect that Roman classics had on educated people in Renaissance. So what was the effect on the educated people in the Renaissance? That is again not the focus of this paragraph, right? So it tells us that contemporaries have read the limited text and why that has happened, but they have not told us the effect of Roman classics, that Roman classics had on the educated people of Renaissance. All right, let's look at the next answer choice. Answer choice D says way in which Roman classics were taught in 16th century. So it was not about the Roman classics, what they were taught. Roman classics opposed what was being taught. So again, answer choice D will not be the right answer. Last one, answer choice E. Contrast between the teaching of Roman classics in Renaissance and teaching of Roman classics today. So see, it is not about the Roman classics. It is about the ancient Roman poetry and the proses, right? So no, that is again, since the Roman classics teaching of Roman classics is not there, we have to eliminate this one as well. So what will be the right answer? Answer choice B is the only answer that is apt here. Other answer choices are not covering the entire thing. Other answer choices are not covering the entire idea behind the passage, so they will be eliminated. Answer choice B becomes the right answer. All right, let us look at the next question now. All right, so the question here says information in the passage suggests that which of the following would most likely result from students having studied Roman classics under a typical 16th century teacher. So what happened under a typical 16th century teacher? What would that student be up to? How will that result, that the student will see the results in what manner, right? So we have to find that out, right? So 16th century teachers, if we talk about, so what were they doing? In this sentence here, they told us what they were doing, right? Teachers accordingly made the students needs, not textual or historical accuracy, their supreme interest. And what did they do? Chopping dangerous text into short phrases and using these to impart lessons extemporaneously on variety of subjects, from syntax to science. So everything was cut down into a short. There was all chopped down into a short part, short piece. All right, let us look at the answer choices now. So I will suggest that since I have already showed you from where your answer comes from, so you pause for a minute or two, try to answer, because you have discussed the question. Now all you have to do is choose the right answer choice. Go ahead, try to find the right answer choice. Pause the video. All right, I hope you guys had paused the video and you were able to ascertain an answer. Let's discuss now. So answer choice A says the student recalls a line of Roman poetry in conjunction with a point learned about grammar. So now what is this answer choice telling us? All right, now I hope you were able to ascertain an answer choice. You were able to choose an answer choice. Let us evaluate the answer choices and see if you got the right one or not. So answer choice A says the student recalls a line of Roman poetry in conjunction with a point learned about grammar. So recalling a line of poetry in conjunction with a point learned about grammar. So at the first go, you might feel this could not be the answer. But if we go back and look at it, what were they doing? They were chopping the dangerous text down, right? And what they were teaching them, they were teaching them the syntax. From syntax to science, they were teaching them everything. So the literature was getting cut down and they were teaching from syntax to science, everything through that, right? Syntax, if we talk about syntax, it's a grammatical thing. And since then the student recalls that part, the All right, I hope now that you would have chosen an answer. Let us go through the answer choice and find out if you have got the right answer or not. So answer choice A. Answer choice A says the student recalls a line of Roman poetry in conjunction with a point learned about grammar. So Roman poetry with grammar. Is that possible? Now again, we'll have to check the sentence. Sentence says what? That the accuracies were not important. Now they were chopping it down into short phrases. And what were they using it for? They were using it for teaching them syntax to science. Now syntax is a grammatical subject and poetry is there in the ancient texts, in the classical texts. So of course this could be a possible answer. At the first go, you might not have thought it, but yes, there is a possibility to it. So if we are not able, if we are able to eliminate every other answer choice, we'll still hold on to it. But if we find something that is more appropriate, that seems more connecting, then we'll consider that one. So now answer choice B. Answer choice B says the student argues that Roman poem about gluttony is not morally offensive when it is understood in its historical context. Now see, the classics were already opposing these things, the moral points, right? So the teachers had cut down the text. This has nothing to do with that, right? So how would they argue that in the historical context it is morally not wrong, not offensive? So no, B cannot be your answer. Then answer choice C. The student is easily able to express thoughts in Latin. So how easily he is able to express thoughts in any language? That is not the concern here. That is not what the teachers are doing there, right? That is something not what the students are learning. They might have learned the Latin language. They might be able to easily express themselves, but the focus of the passage is not that. So we cannot choose this as an answer. Next, answer choice D. The student has mastered large portions of Roman classic. So again, how can they master the large portions of Roman classics when the teachers of that time, 16th century, are actually cutting down the text? So that is difficult. So again, it will be eliminated. Then last, answer choice E. It says the student has a sophisticated knowledge of Roman poetry, but little knowledge of Roman prose. See, in the last line, the author clearly says that the educated 16th century reader will have what? Will have a better understanding, better association of that line with Roman poetry or prose. So, since it has to be both poetry and prose, here it is not. He says the prose part is little and the Roman poetry part is going to be sophisticated. So, again, answer choice E will not be the right answer. We are left with only one choice, answer choice A. That is the right choice. Alright, let's go to the next question. Now the question here says, which of the following, if true, most seriously weakens the assertion made in the passage concerning what a modern reader cannot know? So see, this is typically a question type that we did in the beginning of this session. There we had to strengthen the argument. Now what are we supposed to do? We are supposed to weaken, right? So what is the argument here? They have told us specifically concerning what a modern reader cannot know, right? So according to the argument, according to the passage, you have to first find out what a modern reader cannot know. So now if we pay attention, in the last part, the author tells us, right, that he believes that a modern reader cannot know the associations that a line of ancient Roman poetry or prose had for any particular educated 16th century reader. So this is what the reader will not know, right? He will have no association whatsoever. Okay, so now that is the assertion made in the passage, right? The author, the reader of current time will not be able to associate to the specific line of the ancient Roman poetry or prose. Now we have to find an answer choice that says no, it is not possible, that he can, instead of cannot know, we have to say he can know. Why? Because we are supposed to weaken it. So what are we going for? We are going for can know. Alright, I would like you guys to pause the video now and try to find the right answer. Then unpause the video and I'll discuss and we'll find out if you have got the right answer or the wrong answer. All right. I hope you were able to come to an answer. Now let us discuss the answer choices and find out which is the right answer. So answer choice A says that some modern readers are thoroughly familiar with the classics of ancient Roman literature because they have majored in classics in college or obtained doctoral degrees in the classics. Now in this, I'm going to start once more. All right, I hope you were able to choose an answer choice. Now let us discuss all the answer choices and find out which is the right answer. So answer choice A says, some modern readers are thoroughly familiar with the classics of ancient Roman literature because they majored in classics in college or obtained doctoral degrees in classics. Now see, this is telling us that for some readers it is possible, right? The author's assertion was that they cannot know. A modern reader cannot know, right? So these specific readers, they are from the doctoral degrees and they have done major in the classics. So we can hold on to this answer choice for now. It seems quite possible. So you can hold on to it now. Let us consider the next answer choice. It says, some modern readers have learned which particular works of Roman literature were taught to students in the 16th century. So see, them knowing which particular literature were taught has nothing to do with the point that the modern reader will not be able to associate with a line of ancient Roman poetry or prose, right? So they, even though they might have learned what particular work they are doing, how is that available to for anybody to access? So no, answer choice B definitely does not help. It should be eliminated. Now, answer choice C. Modern readers can, with some effort, discover that 16th century teachers selected some seemingly dangerous classical text while excluding some seemingly innocuous text. So see, this is telling us that what we can find, what we can discover, what modern reader can discover, right? The idea behind is not that. The idea is not that what we cannot discover. The idea is that we cannot associate, right? So again, we'll have to eliminate this, right? Now, option D. Option D says, copies of many of the classical texts used by 16th century teachers, including marginal notes describing the oral lessons that were based on the text, can be found in the museums today. So what can be found in the museums? All the details, many classical texts with including marginal notes describing the oral lessons. Who do they belong to? 16th century teachers, right? So this tells us that if this is available for everybody at a museum, it's right there. So of course it can show us that the modern reader can associate with a line of ancient Roman poetry or prose. So we have to hold on to this one. Now see, keeping two answer choices and then going to the last one will not help us here, because if you are confused, now you'll be confused between three answer choices. Always it is better to eliminate one of the two if you're confused between two answer choices. Now see, A did work, but D has a wider scope. A has a scope for a limited people, but anybody can access D. If we go back to the question statement, the question statement says most seriously, right? So what is better? Some readers with PhDs and majors in the classics, that or availability in a museum available to the entire public? So of course, answer choice D is better here. So we'll have to eliminate answer choice A as well. Now the last answer choice E. Many of the writings of the best 16th century Renaissance scholars have been translated from Latin and are available to modern world. Now see, they're translating many writings of the best 16th century scholars have been translated. So what writings are those? Will those writings help us to associate with the lines or prose, right? We do not know that. Answer choice D specifically told us that classical texts used by the 16th century teachers are there in the museum, and those copies have marginal notes. So these are better than their own writings, because in that way we can associate a line of ancient Roman poetry or prose. So answer choice E will also be eliminated, and the right answer will be answer choice D. I hope you enjoyed solving questions with me. For any further details, you can connect with the counselors, and they will help you further with your requirements. Thank you.